Never been there, I got my college,
So-
high school friend wants to go there.
And it's like, it's all taco stuff, and then it's like a buffet, and you just go through and. So,
Where's it at, 41st?
The Cowboy Chicken was?
oh, did you?
Jeremy had one. He liked to go
I think it's
there.
probably
There's
across
on
like
Western.
the street
From
from,
where he's talking places, he's never been to my house.
kind of by Olive Garden,
He should have gone there. It was really good.
maybe a little bit closer
Went up
to
that west
40,
wall.
or to Louise.
I had one there, so.
Oh, God. Oh, my, I went home on Friday at noon or whatever, and I was broiling some bread, because I warmed up some lasagna. And so, you know, you kind of leave your door open
Right.
when you broil, right? So I'm doing some other stuff, and all of a sudden I hear this big boom, and I turn around and I look, and there's like sparks. It looks like a fireworks is coming out of my oven.
Holy cow.
And I'm like, what do I do? I just froze. I'm like, Luckily, then I heard another big boom, and it basically tripped.
Threw everything.
Yeah.
Holy
And so
cow.
then they all went, so I'm like, well, I don't think I need to call the fire department, like, there's no fire, so calm down. So then I called John, and I'm like, and I didn't know it, but he was actually in the back alley, so
Holy
he comes
cow.
running into the house, he's like, what's the matter? I'm like, the stove just blew up. So anyway, so then we thought, well.
Was it, didn't have any other issues?
No, and it was like, and so he went down and he tripped the breaker again, you know, and said, okay, well, let's just try to,
Yeah.
you know, so he put it to like 180, you know, well, it was on broil, so I'm sure it was close to 180, so, you know, it came on and preheated, it was okay. So then we thought, oh, well, we just can't use the broiler, you know, well, then I went to a memorial, for a friend of mine, her husband passed away, and Lauren come home and said, I'm hungry, and so John says, well, make a pizza. So she turns the oven on,
And boom.
and all of a sudden she calls John and she goes, Dad, the oven's making all kinds of weird noises. And he goes, shut it off, shut it off.
Go fire extinguisher.
Yeah, and then he says, do you know where the fire extinguisher is, right? I'm like, no, I really don't have a clue. I'm looking around the kitchen going, shouldn't it be in here? Oh, no, it's out the door, into the garage, and to the right. That's where our fire extinguisher is.
Works where it should be, right?
According to him,
One in
yes.
the sink, one in the garage. That's right. Cause something's gonna blow up, it's gonna be in the kitchen or the garage.
So needless to say, we went stove shopping. We found a stove at Lowe's.
Still running.
Well, and actually, I didn't want, we had the flat screen, whatever it is. Yeah,
Flat.
I hate that thing. And so I bought one that had the coils on it. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So,
I like a bunch of them, but that's about it.
yeah, you know.
Always told myself if we ever bought another one, it'd be gas. Every spot that one's gas.
Oh, I do too, but our
I never had
our
one
gas
as well.
line, wow. Our gas line is like on the other side of the house.
Oh.
To bring it over would be, cause I did look at that right away when we
And
moved there.
ours is separable. Was it the house where Dad was?
My daughter. Yes, I know you went to church. Sent me the bulletin. This was the first night that T had their 6 p.m. mass,
Oh, okay.
so. Yeah, he started at 6 p.m. now too.
On Sundays?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good
9
to
a.m.
know.
and 6 p.m., so. I wanted to go too, but then I was like, oh, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't think I would've got here in time.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
When you got to.
Insta stories,
Oh, what?
Instagram stories.
Oh. I don't have Instagram.
Better get it.
I'm not cool enough for that.
You could be, honey, you could be.
Nope, just ask my kids. Fairly confident. No.
Brittany will be here just shortly.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Can I get a motion to call the meeting to order?
Motion to call the meeting to order.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and second. We are now in order. Alrighty, additions
We have
to the
two,
agenda?
one addition, Brittany commented yesterday about adding a discussion on pool pass sales.
Very good, we will add pool pads. Do we have to first and second?
Will that be under?
It'll be under new business, it'll be item I under new business.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with an amendment to add pool pass discussion as item I under new business.
Second.
Alrighty, we've had the motion and it's been seconded. We have added and approved the agenda.
Let me go now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now that we have voted on it, we now have approved the agenda. No visitors? Yeah, looks pretty. I think I can get that one figured out. All right, minutes from last meeting. Any questions or anything need to be done with those?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 6th.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We gotta vote on this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'll get this one of these days. Alrighty. Reports.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Perfect. That's what I love. Old business. Let's see here, updates and assigned tasks.
I don't think I have anything new.
Yeah. Can't think of anything.
Okay.
Perfect.
What you mentioned.
Parks repair list updates.
You'll notice in your packets, 2 pages. It's titled Parks and Rec at the top. Names a number of park locations and recreation facilities. I've crossed out the items that have already been accomplished this summer and fall. The streets department's gonna be working on a number of these pieces throughout the winter, I mean, as weather allows. Maybe cold out, but some of these things we can still take care of. I think the bigger ones to look at are gonna be the new concession stand. There's still quite a bit to do there. Mostly with the gutters. Darren noted some needs there, and I think he's heard from a few of you as well about having a dumpster nearby there. So that'll be added next year. That's all been winterized. Everything's been sprayed now, in all the parks. Everything in the big basketball field, the concession stand there was winterized. And we don't have on here, the irrigation system that was winterized probably about a month ago. Still funny to do, but glad to see some of these things getting crossed off.
I noticed the concession stand was gone, it's crossed up on here. Did it go to the T-ball field?
Yeah, we moved it to behind the parking, PW shop, so that we can give, we think we can do something with that thing yet, but obviously needs some repairs, so. Figured it'd be best to have it back there while the windows are out of it and the door's not working right, and just fix that this winter. Did we wanna move that out to the T-ball field next year? Is that kind of the general consensus, or?
Yeah, I think that will be,
Okay.
well used,
Yeah.
even if it's just for waters or ices or.
Yeah, anything out of just a cooler.
We'll make sure we'll
Great.
work on getting it fixed this winter, and next spring we'll hope to have it out there by the T-ball field.
I screwed the door shut, I'm sure they can figure out.
Yeah, they can figure that out. Mitchell and Brian both are very good, very handy with carpentry skills, so. I think they'll be able to take care of that in pretty short order.
And so you guys are gonna be working on the rest of these throughout winter?
Yeah, I mean,
like
we'll
early
keep doing
spring?
as much as we can on the streets, as long as we can, with the streets crew.
Mhm.
But that's getting few and far between. I mean, tomorrow will be a good day to be out on the streets crew. The rest of the week, there's only so much that can be done, you know.
Yeah.
So on those days, I think, you know, once we have all of our snow removal equipment ready, we'll probably be expecting to see them out in the park or moving stuff over to the VW shop to work on it.
Okay.
There's, you know, all the lawnmowers need work on to be done. So there's plenty of work to keep busy throughout the winter.
Mhm.
Now, working outside in some temperatures is gonna be tough, but
Right, yeah.
we do supply clothing and everything that we need to do those, so I'll hope to see them outside doing some of this stuff whenever possible.
All right, anything else relating to the updated list? Alrighty, new business. The website.
Should probably table this one until Brittany gets
Until
up.
Brittany gets here.
Yep.
Shortly.
So just move on to soccer and move on. When Brittany gets here, we can cover the website, the little project.
Okay, so we are going to postpone A, move to B, soccer program.
So, the only thing that I wanted to mention on this, did you wanna send out a parent survey, or did you already? I think you guys, I had mentioned that last time, but the season wasn't quite done. You didn't get
I
that.
think we included everybody on it.
But that would have been the spring, when you guys sent it in after baseball, that was to the spring parents, so do you wanna do one in the fall?
Yeah, if
or
they
not?
haven't been added to it already, if you can shoot the email addresses over, or I
don't
can send
know.
you the link, or does Brittany have the registration info?
What do you mean, I guess I'm confused.
So,
Is it-
all we
I
have,
don't
all we
know.
have to do for the survey, we did one big Parks and Rec survey.
Mhm.
We can get them added to that, we just have to send them one link to complete the survey.
Okay.
So whatever their email
Because
addresses
I maybe
are.
had, some parents maybe did it because they participated
They
in
might have
the
done
spring.
spring, but
but I'm not
if they
sure.
only did fall, then
Yeah.
they should get the link.
So I can send you everybody that participated in
Perfect.
fall, so then you guys could just, anybody that was missed.
Yep, we can send the
that.
link out.
Mhm.
And I think what we'll do after they, you know, give them a month or 3 weeks or whatever to take it, in December, we can come back to the board with the full survey results. You're not gonna find anything shocking in the survey, but I think it's good to see that feedback and some of the commentary will be helpful too, so.
Do you think there's a lot of people though that are not on baseball, softball, t-ball that weren't also in fall soccer? You know what I mean?
I don't know, there might not be hardly anybody, I just wasn't sure.
Yeah.
There
Did
was
those all get
specific
deleted?
things. What?
Did those all get deleted?
I think so. I have it saved on my, I have their stuff saved.
And if they're not already on our, if they've already taken it, they'll just get a link. I mean, it's not a big deal. They just
That's fine.
don't take it if they take it already.
Right. And then the other thing you had mentioned a while back about talking to the school about using their land to the east of the football field. Did you talk to them again about for spring? I know
Yeah,
the spring soccer is
they were
basically
good
like-
with using it in the spring.
They were okay
Yeah,
with
so
that.
we just have to, we'll have to do, they have a facilities use agreement that we'll have
Yep.
to fill out, but that didn't seem to be any issue.
What land is the schools to the east of the football field?
So, not the old football field, the actual football field, so where, like,
Oh, that's the
kids
school thing, yeah,
practice at,
okay,
you know what I mean, right behind.
But in between the road and the football field.
okay.
And they had said that we could potentially use that, cause during this last spring, it was just
So
too
wet.
wet
Mhm,
to get
yeah.
in there, and it ruined, like, it was just bad, so.
And there's good parking up there.
It's a pretty
there's
low
good-
area though, that's not wet when everything else is wet.
It's pretty good drainage east of it.
Yeah, up,
There.
yeah, the east spot, yeah.
It
People
goes,
are on
it all
it.
goes to the ditch along 17.
Yeah. And there's people on it all the time for just messing around.
And do you want me to do that facilities use agreement, or is that something you'll do, or what?
I'll work with Conway.
Okay,
We've already talked about it.
okay.
Right, anything else for the soccer program?
Cassie, did you have anything? We did have to cancel our last one, because it was too cold.
It was like snow too.
It was just really icky out. And my coaches had said, go ahead and cancel, and we did not postpone it and try for the next week, cause I had coaches out of town and wasn't sure on the weather, then it ended up to be really nice, but I guess.
You never know.
So we ended up canceling that last one. Okay.
All right, very good. Let's, go back to A.
Sorry that I wasn't here on time. So for the website, it is all, we're just kind of in the phase right now of, I mean, all the agreements have been signed. Denise took care of paying for the first year, and we did that initial $500 as well for designing. But even though they're doing that initial design, we still have to give them all of the information to put in it. So I've been working on, what does each sport need? So like if somebody goes in to register, normally we have all the verbiage that's there. And I would just pull from previous, but if somebody, like for example, the $25 fee for concessions, are we still doing that, and how are we wording it? Is it gonna be added to the end of registration? Another example is, do we want any release forms to be included on there? Because they want all of that now, while they're building. I think we can add, change, edit, as we go along, but they basically sent this large file that I fill out before they can get started. And so it's asking for all of that. So to my knowledge, all of our release forms, documents, all of that were already built into the website, correct? Those weren't really things necessarily on registration, like rules and regulations.
Geez, I'm trying to think. So they had to attest to each one of those things? Like click a box saying
Yeah.
that they read each one, and each one of those was a document that was imported. So if you take all the things from the
And it was
documents
pulled from the website, right?
from the website, so if, on the website, there's like that documents tab.
Yeah, so that's where I sent people when they had, like when Sean had softball documents, I uploaded it on there and then just referred parents to that. But is there anything we want when they go through to register that they read and say, yes, I agree?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, there was like
Yeah.
a photo thing that I had written up, there was like a sportsmanship thing, I think. There was like 4 things that they had to.
And I just pulled those through for when I did baseball and
Oh, okay.
softball, and so
Yeah.
I didn't, I mean,
Yeah,
I
when
read
I
through
set,
them, but
when
I
I
didn't
set,
develop
when I set
those.
them up,
Sure.
when I set up baseball, those were set up for you to click through when you registered,
Okay.
so.
So should we just pull from what's already there, or do you want to review that? Are you guys comfortable with me reviewing it on my own? I just wanna know what to do with that.
I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel.
So for the $25 though, for concessions, do we wanna continue with that? And do we want it to assess the fee on registration?
Yeah, assess it immediately, otherwise
Okay.
people will know.
Right,
But yeah, you gotta continue, otherwise it's the same people doing it.
Mhm.
I think we wanted to continue it, right?
Okay, so that'll
And
add the
just assess
$25.
it. That's, and assess it right away.
Please
Yes.
do, because there was a big mix-up at the end and people didn't understand why they were being invoiced $25 and
Yes.
then some of them said, oh, I did work it, so then we didn't charge them the $25 and I think that if they're gonna say that they're not gonna work it and they're charged $25 and they have to pay for it up front, then I think that'll take care of some of that confusion.
So the other thing would be just ages or dates, like for cutoffs for registration. Is there anything that we need to change from last year? Or would it be easier if we all went out to the website and looked at our individual programs to see what's there? Or do you wanna write something up for me that I can submit? Would that be easier? These are the cutoff dates.
I know for softball, there was something, we put it in there. And
Yeah,
then
we want-
there was something that you guys wanted different, I think,
Yeah, because
right?
So Sean and I talked about that
Mhm.
with, so to change it to year, so if you were born in this year,
6.
right, then, you would be eligible for AU softball.
Mhm.
But for baseball, what was the cutoff? Is it, we did December 31st, I believe, last time.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, I mean, I can pull things from the old website, but I wanna make sure that there weren't any, other than softball, any changes that anyone
So if you're gonna do,
noticed from previously.
if you're gonna do baseball on December 31st, you see the same verbiage as softball, to eliminate confusion. Cause I had 6 or 7 parents last year that the verbiage was out there, but they still just kinda couldn't calculate the year on their own. I just shuffled some parents around, call them up and tell them why they're being moved.
And I'll see if maybe if they can put the birth date in and then it stops them. If it's, you know what I mean, where it automatically puts them in the correct category.
Yeah,
Because I know personally somebody lied last year about birthday, not me.
On
but
purpose?
Yes, to get their kid into the group that they wanted.
for softball,
Correct.
who is that?
I can't, I'm not going to say on camera.
For being on.
Thank you, Brittany.
Sorry, I'm not gonna say it out loud.
So would it be easier just for all of us to go out and actually look at the website and double check and then just send you scripts of anything rather than that probably be
Does
easier for
everybody have
you.
access to it though? I just, logins and stuff, able to get in there and see it. I think for soccer, I think I have a good understanding of baseball and t-ball, and Sean's gonna
Send
let
us.
me know what to do for softball, cause softball's the
send
one
you
I think
some.
that confused the most. So if you want to just review soccer,
Yep.
and then if I have a concern about t-ball, baseball, or softball, then I'll reach out. Is that okay?
I like it.
Okay.
When do you
Otherwise,
need to know by?
let's do November 15th. Seems to be my day for everything. Full donation deadline.
Okay. We can do that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything else with the website?
Like, do you want us to go through the registration process? Cause that's probably not, they're not gonna be able to click through that.
That's what I mean. I don't know that you can access that unless you have admin functions and you don't, right? So I don't think he can, I don't think
We can
everyone else can see
technically,
that.
I
I
got
think we can go in and
clauses.
like pretend, like
But
I
it's
can
not
go in and
open
open them
now.
up. I can go in and open them up
Yeah.
for like a week. If you wanted to just go see.
But are we gonna
I'll
like have
just-
some parent randomly go through and start freaking out when they see something's
So
open?
this is what I'll do.
No, it's open, I'm missing.
Yeah.
I will look at what we have for everything. I'll send you softball. Then you can tell me what you want me to
Yeah.
change. Is that okay?
I think that's the way to go.
Could you just send that to all of us, like everything that's on there,
Mhm.
and then we can all see what it is?
It's just in a lot of different screens, so ideally, yes, but that would be kind of a lot of work to get it all onto one document and then send it out. But if you do wanna review it, I wanna give everybody the option to review it.
I mean, we could send the generic stuff out if you're wanting to look at like there was like the the sportsmanship, that kind of stuff. Are you looking for like descriptions of the programs or?
Well, the only one I've seen is baseball,
Mhm.
so I don't even know what any of the other stuff looks like.
Sure.
Mhm.
I think what we could do too is do the trial run with the new company. They build the site, and if there's verbiage we don't like, we can edit it at that point before it
Yeah.
goes live.
So we'll be able to see it on the new site?
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Your softball, you can see everything,
Awesome.
except for the registration process, the rules.
I just didn't wanna have to have everybody get back to me.
I'll try to find those.
She's got like feedback.
Yeah.
And then two meetings. Do we need to vote on anything?
I don't think
Moving
there was
forward.
anything votable on that, was there?
No, there's no motion.
There was no motions.
Okay,
Not till we get through new business, right?
Alright, so since
This
we've
is
already
new,
covered,
we're on new business.
and we added pool pass on as letter I. You said you wanna discuss pool passes?
Yeah,
So we
can-
added it as I
so we
under,
can't do it under pool project?
well, we added a separate
Have
thing.
to go
We-
back?
When we did agenda, we added it, so. It's how it is.
Just to confirm, I can talk about the pool project, but not pool passes till we get to that.
Correct.
Okay,
Bite your
I'm
tongue.
okay with that. Okay, pool project. Well, that's what's on my mind is pool passes. Okay, I will talk about just the pool project minus the pool passes. So we had a progress update meeting this last week and everything is on schedule. They should be wrapping up here. They'll still be around cleaning up for quite a while, but they're pretty well finished with most of it. They have to pour the deck, put the fence in. The large play structure for the zero depth entry is sitting there. You guys can, I don't know if you wanna drive by, you can, obviously right now it's dark, but if you ever drive by, you can look and see there's the whole structures there. The high dive and low
Anybody
dive.
that wants to stop by any time of the day, just holler. And you can go over there. It's pretty cool to see
Yeah.
at this point.
I know last time I was there, I was like, I can actually go in the pool, this is so cool. It's just neat to get in there and actually walk around and be inside of it and
Those
see
those
all
last
the,
pictures that I saw,
yeah.
I was like, like, oh my gosh, it's a pool. You know,
Yeah.
it's the first-
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a pool.
There's some painting that still needs to be done, the painter, something happened halfway through one of the lines and he
Oh,
just
it's
had to
like
stop and
90%
leave.
done with that. There's like a 10-foot gap on the line. so
There's
you
just
gotta
like
finish
one
that up.
small spot where he
Was
didn't.
that the turning lane?
Yeah. So some painting that needs to be done, the deck, the fence, some things inside the bathhouse, benches, concrete things fixtures that need to be included in there. The boards on the diving board, they'll put those in. Otherwise, that's really it, isn't it, Nate? Is there anything else you can think of for
Yeah, painting is
progress?
probably gonna have to wait until next spring. They also have to do a blue line along the top edge of the pool, when the door frame still have to be painted, in the building. It's too cold, they didn't, that paint will peel off at this temperature, so.
So what we talked about for filling the pool, it's getting kinda late in the year now. So they are going to, we talked about a May 4th, is a
Mhm.
Monday date for them to come back and fill. It takes them a couple days to fill it. We have the heater, so the heater will warm it up right away. But they have to do training for the new park director and some of the lifeguards and maybe some city staff, or whoever needs to be involved in that. And so what we discussed for an opening date is the last day of school. It's a Wednesday, May 20th, and school gets out at noon, so I thought it would be kind of fun to do a
It
1
will be
PM
fun.
pool grand opening that day. So, what else with that? Fundraising, we just received another large donation, so we are, just for this year, we're at a little over 30,000. With the Mid-American Energy donation, Lennox was $10,000, Lennox Area Community Fund was 5,000, Sanford was 5,000, and then the rest is all, individual and some small business owners for donations. What else? Tomorrow I am going to the commercial club to kind of pitch to several businesses requesting some donations. First, I'm just gonna explain kind of why we need donations, what we're doing with it, to get that information out, and then doing the same thing for the Lions Club the 14th, the week following that. So we're trying to do a big push, kind of a last push for donations. So I did set a November 15th deadline. That's very, it's just kind of a flexible deadline. There's nothing we need to order by then. I just felt like if we had a deadline that it would kind of help people to motivate to come in and donate. So Nate and I discussed doing a final push at the end of the year, kind of listing all the donations so far, and then maybe with some year-end, people trying to do things for taxes, kind of get some final donations there. So things we're looking at purchasing with the money that's come in so far. So we've already gotten that structure in the zero depth entry, the high dive, and the heater. We have the deck sprays. So what I'd like to focus on now is the Oriole Bird floatable device. We are I wanna make sure we have enough lifeguard chairs, equipment for the lifeguards, making sure we have everything they need. And then, a couple large umbrellas or shade structures, lounger chairs, and there's a small kiddie slide. I think what we might do with the Mid-American donation is purchase a kiddie slide for the zero depth entry and hopefully put their logo on the side, because we had said over $10,000 would have naming rights, so I wanna be able to recognize them that way. Something else. The Game Fish and Parks grant, can I discuss that, Nate?
Say that again?
The Game Fish and Parks grant?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were trying to, secure a Game Fish and Parks grant. It's a minimum of $75,000 with a match, so the city would have to match $75,000. We were attempting to do the parking lot with that, just because the city can't really fund $75,000 or $90,000 for a slide. That's not really going to be something that they can pull from their budget, but they probably could for infrastructure, parking lot, that kind of thing. But unfortunately, the parking lot is not owned by the city, and so we can't request funds for that. So we're gonna wait another year and then apply for those funds. So, I think that's pretty much it.
So when we're talking about lifeguard equipment, what are we going through to figure out what the lifeguards need and don't need and?
I am just going on past experience and photos of lifeguards, no.
We'll talk to Carruthers.
We have, Google. We have been asking Carruthers too. I've asked them kind of some basics that they need, of course. It could be more than, we could give them more than what they originally would need. I did reach out to Wildwater West, to see if they had any equipment that maybe they weren't in need of, that still is usable, but that they would either donate or sell to us for cheaper. And so I'm waiting to hear back from their equipment manager. But I think he might be able to tell, he or she might be able to tell me, these are the basics that you absolutely need. So, we kind of discussed doing concessions and do we need an attendant for the concessions, and I think the consensus was, since it's all kind of in one area, it's not a separate area for concessions, that we won't need to have a concessions attendant. We can have the lifeguard that's in there, do concessions, so.
Right.
And I will not discuss pool passes at this time. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions on the pool project or anything?
So you said the parking lot, the city doesn't own it right now, but is the city looking to own it the
Yes.
following year? Is
Yeah,
that
so
something
there's
we've
a
been working
ownership
on?
issue and then
Right.
there's a logistics issue, because the school project isn't gonna be done until about June. So where they're staging equipment and where their equipment is gonna be is still gonna be there when we open the pool, so we really can't do a parking lot, fully do a parking lot yet. So the city has the street, 6th Avenue actually goes through those two parking
Right.
lots for some reason. So I have talked to the district and we will work out some kind of purchase agreement in the next year.
Okay.
The other thing too is, even if we would have received the Game Fish and Parks grant this year, right now they awarded it to us, we can't move forward with anything with the parking lot until next fall or later summer when the school's finished. So regardless of if we would receive those Game Fish and Parks grant dollars this year or next year, the parking lot will be done at the exact same time.
Yep.
So that's why we kind of decided, instead of trying to get that ownership process sped up, which I don't know that would have happened by the deadline for the Game Fish and Parks
Right.
grant. So.
I remembered you saying something, but I couldn't remember.
I know there was something else I wanted to talk about, but.
Can you just clarify, so the high dive, the heater, what else was,
Purchased out of donation dollars this
Right.
year. So the big item is the zero depth entry play structure.
oh, okay.
So we chose not to do the large slide, because if we did the large slide, it would be the only amenity. And so instead, we chose the zero depth entry play structure. I should have brought a picture of it, but if you've ever been to Midco Aquatic Center in their zero depth entry. This is significantly larger, but it's a very similar, it's made by the same company. It has a platform, so they can stand on the platform, and there's spray features, and it's like a see-through platform area with like polka dots. They can slide down one area, there's steps on one side, and then when they walk outside of it, there's water features to play in, and buckets that kind of spill, and
It's
So
like
that's
a
not
mini-
huge
right in-
like the
right in that
Nicole.
zero depth
a
entry.
mini
Yeah.
pirate ship.
It's not a pirate ship, and it's not that large. It's significantly smaller. They are very expensive
Oh, sure.
pieces of equipment for a small structure. But what will fit, I think, in our pool, I think it's a nice addition to the pool. And so instead of doing the large slide, we did that plus the heater to appeal to all populations, and then added in a high dive to have something else kind of in the deep end instead of having the slide. So
And then that wasn't what the 30,000 was used for, or that's what
the
the
30,000 has not been
hasn't, yeah,
allocated for anything
that was
yet.
for the past
Correct,
fundraising
yes,
stuff,
so
yeah,
the
okay.
plan for the 30,000, I'd really like to get that Oriole bird floatable, we just didn't quite have enough to do that yet. And then make sure we have lifeguard equipment, that's the first on the agenda, making sure we have all the life-saving equipment, enough lifeguard chairs, and then move into comfort amenities, like shade structures, and then that small slide. We are going to look at the brown slide from past years. There's two. One apparently had some plumbing issues. One is in still some decent shape. So we will put that, we'll install that hopefully on the southeast corner, kind of where the large slide would have been. So it'll be on the park side. So that way they have something, some kind of a slide, until we hopefully someday will get the larger slide. So.
Alrighty, anything else for the pool project? Minus addendum I.
It looks like American Red Cross has like a list of supplies needed.
Supplies for
Mhm.
lifeguards.
Alright, concession stand restroom project.
I don't think we've really,
There's
well,
anything
Sean, if
wrong
you
with
wanna speak to what you've done in there, other than that, I don't know that anything's been
I
going on.
built a shelving unit for softball equipment. It's pretty easy.
That's it.
Are the restrooms done now? It says restroom project, so is it?
I think
the
it's
part-
just-
The partitions were the only thing we were waiting on, I think.
Yeah.
No,
The
those are all-
partitions have been up
They're
for
there, right?
Couple
months,
months,
yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's just what we need to do.
Oh, okay, I
It's
couldn't
just roll
remember
over.
if something was still waiting on that or not.
They're definitely 100% usable. I
Okay,
can't think of anything that's missing in there.
okay.
Very good, alright. Baseball.
Baseball people are gone, so.
Alright, softball.
Only thing we have for softball is trying to make the registration process as easy as possible. I think we kind of covered that already. So, probably gotta get started here. 2 months.
Alright, policies and procedures for park and recreation.
The only thing I have to add to this, the packets you got last time did not include anything on the campground or the pool. I think we need to add both of those in there, especially if we're making some changes to the campground fees and process over the past year, so we wanna make sure we incorporate that in. The pool is just a tougher one. I go back and forth between wanting the new park and rec staff member to do that part, or whether we should just go ahead and take it at this point. Either one is fine, but I feel like the person that's in charge might have more ownership of that. Certainly come back through the board for approval when that time comes, but other than that, any feedback on those policies and procedures? Great. I know they're awful fun. They're even more fun to write. But But thankfully, there's a lot of communities out there that have really good ones. I took a lot from Indianola, Iowa on this. They've got an incredible park and rec program. So a lot of what we have in there is built off of that, but a few pieces here and there, of course, customized to our needs, so.
And is that something that if we wanted to, we can amend at a
Anytime,
later time?
Yep.
Right?
yeah. Really, the process needs to go through is, we take it to park board, recommend approval to the city council, and then have that happen, so. Those are relatively easy processes.
So if you wanted to move forward with pool stuff right now, and then after you hire somebody.
We could do it after we hire somebody and amend, yep, absolutely.
Alrighty, anything else for policies and procedures? Alrighty, the job description for the director.
I sent out the park and rec job description, I think last week. Pretty comprehensive. Obviously, it oversees a lot of different programs, but we want to make sure that we incorporated all the pool stuff in there as well. I think that's going to be a major part of their work during the summer. I do envision this being a very busy position for about 6 months of the year, and then the other 6 months of the year being a little more relaxed, but that being really good planning time, an opportunity to write grants. During the summer months and really all the way through fall soccer, I think that position needs to be very operational. And then the rest of the year is gonna be very strategic and vision focused, so. Tried to reflect that in the job description. And I hear some discussion this week on whether we should call that a director position or not, given the pay range we're looking at. I think that's something that deserves some research. So I'll be looking at the state survey, salary survey for what those types of positions are making right now. We have that from all the municipalities in South Dakota. And if we are significantly below what would typically be a director's salary, we can adjust that job title and call it a park supervisor, manager, four-person coordinator, any of those things I think would be appropriate. There's probably 50 different job titles out on that survey by itself, so I haven't looked at it yet, but if we need to change it, we can do that.
Alrighty, anything else dealing with that?
So do we need to approve the job description or just give feedback?
I think just feedback. I mean, you can recommend approval to the city council. I want the city council to approve a job description, obviously. I think what they're going to want to know is if the park board has had a chance to review and give input on it.
I thought it looked good. I thought it was general enough that we could fit
Yes.
stuff in there,
Other
you know?
duties as assigned.
Yes, the other duties on the side.
I know, I
because-
was trying to think of
yeah.
something that they would have had to do that fell outside of the job description that you put forth, and I really couldn't.
We'll find
think of
something.
anything.
Oh, yeah.
As a sign.
I guarantee you'll find something, but yeah, it did really, I mean, it
I thought
included
it
a
was
lot of
Pretty
what
generic.
ifs, I guess, on
Yeah.
it, so.
I have a few things, sorry. So I think if they are going to oversee the pool and be a pool manager, that they should probably be certified as a lifeguard.
Yes,
And I also think they should be CPR certified, which would come with lifeguard certification. And then, which I didn't see in the job description. And then who do they report to, I think should be listed in there. And then also their functionality on the website and being kind of the website manager as well, and computer skills, just to add some things.
can you email those to me,
Yes,
Brittany? Thank you.
we'll do that.
And I thought the top bullet maybe covered website a little bit. Like I was trying to stretch my mind, cause that was my one thing too, I was like, ooh.
It talks
they need to
about
be able to-
scheduling, but it doesn't say, I just wanna make sure.
Is that what you
So you can
intended?
get
They're
an
proficient with.
Right, one of our first applicants for this position was excellent, but the computer skills were really lacking, and so we were concerned that they wouldn't be able to keep up with
Okay,
the just registration management and,
okay. There is a lot to do online, and I
Yeah.
think that's important.
Right.
Anybody that's going to be working that process, the schedules, the calendar, grant writing, all that stuff, I think they do need to be proficient in computers. I don't know if I put that. Must be organized and have above average computer skills. think we should still list something about the website though on, yeah, I think it makes sense. In terms of it'll report directly to me, we'll have that on this as well. What else did you have, Brittany?
Website lifeguard certification, which goes
Lifeguard
along with
CPR, yeah.
CPR. You said who they report to, managing the website, and then computer proficiency.
Okay. I do have pool operator, but I don't have, lifeguards. We'll
I
get
did see
that
the
added.
pool operator training,
Yep,
which
yep,
Crothers, managing the chemicals, that kind of thing.
right,
But I think that they are going to need to be able to fill in if they have
Yep.
staff call in sick. They have to be a
absolutely.
backup.
I know. I'll be at the pool a lot as a member. Not as a model. As a model.
Drawing in the rest of the
Yes,
crowd.
I'll be like, the bear has arrived.
Does anybody remember what the new sign on the softball field was? Is that new Lennox sign softball field?
Oh,
Is that
on
something-
the,
Oh, the
on the
Lennox
dugout, on the dugout, there's a wood sign that says Lennox, and it's just very old
Yeah.
and falling apart. I assume that's what we were referring to.
Like we're gonna make one out of wood or something like that?
I'm assuming
when I'm bored?
Citizen.
we can get
made
a new one on metal if we need to, but we can do something with that.
Something else that would be kinda nice if they're going to work on putting signage on the dugouts is some type of plastic insert that we can just slide a closed sign into rather than stapling it to the wood.
Yep.
Well, I've always thought if we have some kind of like chain.
It has closed on
Yeah,
it.
it just has a
Yeah, that too,
hard,
that has a
hard thing
closed
that
sign.
says closed.
Yeah.
But then where do you put that, so it covers,
You just go over the end,
All
so I
the
mean, if
fields.
it's up on each dugout entrance, when you go in,
Well, not the dugout, like the chain link fence.
oh, you
Yeah.
go in there.
Right there,
I'm sure
I
we
mean,
can
that
find
fence is
something.
about this tall.
but they can still, the only
You
thing
can
though
get in
is
the
that
backside of the concession stands.
well, and I think it gets the
Should
message
work.
across, but it restricts access to the bathrooms.
That's what I was thinking, the dugout. You put a chain across in each dugout.
Right, and the play set, cause that can stay open even if the fields are closed.
Yeah, that way just need 4 of them for each.
Just across the dugouts and chain, and then when somebody's on the field, you'd be like, you didn't see the chain? Brittany'd be like, there's somebody on the field
Like
with their dogs,
that one day I said, who wants to go kick these people off the
with their
field?
dogs.
I don't wanna do it.
They were gone.
Well, and then the one time they
It's 'cause
had
Brittany kept
dogs
driving
running
by.
up and down, I'm like, they're digging up. Anyway. Things that I get angry about, I never thought I would. Okay, sorry.
All right, anything else for job description? Alrighty, and there was no motion, so let's move to amendment I, pool pass.
So for this, cause I don't think we've shared, well, we did that,
The budget.
that one day, I don't know if anybody remembers,
3
so
months.
if it's okay, if I could just take a poll of what people think that they would pay? Or is that not okay? 'Cause
Go
then
for
it's- Okay, so
It's very scientific.
I wanna know what people would pay, and you two can't answer, cause I already asked you this, what you would pay for a family pass to the Lennox Family Fun Center for a season.
The Lennox
What-
Family
what
Fun
we did,
Center.
what we decided.
But
No,
it's
If
that
you
way.
remember it, don't say anything. It
Yeah.
was decided,
This
yes,
wasn't
but
pitched to me
we're
that way.
considering
I'm paying more now.
updating.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
fun center,
Mark
it's a
before
fun
Amy,
center.
she said
I
first.
thought it was $100.
Tina,
Oh,
I would,
I would say,
I'm
I would have
sorry.
said $100 or less.
I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry.
So Nate's proposal to the city council, it's okay. Nate's proposal to the city council, which got passed, was for $100, it's okay, for a season for family.
The budget.
In
It
the
got
budget,
passed
sorry,
in the budget,
in
so
the
our
budget.
fees aren't established until December typically.
So we can still change it. I just wanted to get feedback on what everybody thought. And I'm not saying $100 is not appropriate, I just wanna make sure that we set it correctly, because it's kinda hard to change it after it's set, and it's something we need to publicize now, because if you haven't noticed, Wild Water West already opened their early bird passes.
How much is that?
So it's, the early bird passes for Wild Water West are $79 for individual. That raises to $149 for individual for season with the full price.
And that's
What is it?
per person.
Per
That's
person.
per person.
That's per person.
So they don't have a
They
family?
don't have a
They have
family
no
pass.
such, they have a transferable that is
Right.
like 2 something.
And I know that Wild Water West offers much more than we're gonna offer, but we're still in direct competition with them, because
Yeah, like
people are
crowds.
going to choose to either get a pass here or get Wild Water West passes. Not many people are going to do both.
Yeah.
So I just wanna make sure we're in the right range.
It used to be $60 for a family pass.
So-
Proposing, so it's a relatively significant jump.
So Nate did a lot of research. First of all, there was a lot of research that was done by the pool committee in the past year and a half, 2 years on neighboring towns. And you have to consider too, brand new pools and amenities that are there at the size of the community. And then in addition, Nate did a lot of research on what do we need to pay lifeguards in today's market? How many lifeguards need to be on staff, and can we sustain the pool in general? And pools are gonna lose money regardless, but to get it to where it's not losing a significant amount of money. So $60 would be very low compared to what, and I know we wouldn't do 60,
No.
but most places around here are between 75 and 125 if you're not counting Wild Water West.
What is
Um,
Midco Aquatic Center? Just curious.
I don't know what theirs is.
Yeah,
Um,
Google it.
So, but then you have to consider too, that's probably a year-round pass. That's
Yep,
not a-
it is.
That's not a summer pass. They're offering a lot more, options there, and there's a huge lap pool. Plus, it's indoor, and they have locker rooms and hot tubs and all of that. So it's hard to compare to something like that. I think Beersford offers a fairly decent comparison. They are larger. They do have the large slide, but there's some things they
Nobody uses it.
don't have, right, nobody was using it when I was there. But they have the zero depth entry like we do, they have the water features like we do with the small play, or the play structure. They don't have a high dive, and we do. So it is larger, but it's comparable, and theirs is 125.
I would have no problem paying 125.
Well,
for
we,
a family pass.
when the Lennox pool closed that year, we got a pass in Beersford. When we got a
Right.
check back from the city saying, sorry, our pool has a massive hemorrhage.
Right.
And then we went and bought a pool pass in Beersford, and so we paid $125.
So the other way to think of it too is, if me and my husband and my 3 kids went to the pool every day, we would be able to pay for a family pass within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's another way to think of it too, is I think our pool passes are gonna be in high demand, but I also wanna keep it affordable for families that are able to.
I think
To
$100,
purchase it.
like, I'm the cheapest person that you know, Brittany, I guarantee it. And I think $100 is decent, because I mean, seriously, I mean, people are spending $5 a day on coffee. So
Yeah.
it's 20 days.
Midco Aquatic Center is $300 annually for a family. For summer, it's 100. For fall,
just
winter,
summer.
spring, it's 240.
And even though they have the lap pool, I mean, like, kids aren't using it, parents are going there for their kids. And, I think $100 is really
Yeah,
reasonable.
I think that's right.
I mean, people pay like $125 for their kids to play basketball, for
Right.
soup, and that's
So
one
is it
kid.
enough though?
So-
That's the other question.
I
Is
said
it-
150.
Is this an
Well,
auction?
Brittany.
170?
Yes.
No.
What if, so,
Hip.
and this is just a suggestion, you know, cause like in Sioux Falls, Drake Springs, and I think, it might be Frank Olson, but I know Drake Springs does this, from 11 to 1, they have water walking. And so adults can go in, or adults with, I think kids, like, they had to be 12 or 13 years old. Anyway, so you could go, and that was part of your pool pass. You could go and you could water walk, and they have the thing. We have the senior citizens center right next door, And how cool would that be to start advertising that we could do water walking from, 11:30 to 1:45 or whatever, or make our hours a little bit different than
Yes,
everybody
and
else.
I think that's something we'd absolutely be open to. The only thing is if we include that in the price,
Mhm.
now we're going to get parents with young kids that want the swimming lessons included in the price. And I'm not against that, but then I think it needs to be raised. So the other
Right.
option would be to do, if you're just coming for water aerobics,
Mhm.
you have a punch card or you do a daily fee or something like that, or you pay the $50 individual.
Right.
And we can talk about if that's included.
I'm just.
But if that
yeah.
stuff's gonna be included, I think swimming lessons would have to also be included, and then I think,
And I'm not
100
talking
is
about
way
water
too low.
aerobics, I'm talking about just going in and having people walk back and forth
just
in
the
the pool.
access.
Just to be able to, cause I'm thinking the senior citizens aren't really gonna wanna do any type of aerobics,
Mhm.
but, just getting those noodles and going out into the deep end and swimming or doing water walking, it's great for the circulation. And if we have the pool, the heater part of it anyway, I'm thinking that we might be able to market that.
Well, and we could do from 11 to 1, as long as it wasn't swimming lessons, is
Right.
adults only.
Right.
Something like that, or lap swimmers or walkers only.
Mhm.
Why don't we offer multiple passes, so you can have, I think this would be a good way, if you did the $130 pass, swimming lessons included.
Oh.
And then you have your $90 pass, no swimming lessons.
I don't think 1:30 is
So,
enough.
Oh.
Or
One
what-
thirty
or
is
whatever,
not, yeah.
whatever you'd have to figure out to make it, you know.
Why-
Swimming lessons, like.
So why
The-
does the swimming, who thinks that swimming lessons should be included? Like, did
I
you
don't know if
think
they
that?
do, no, I'm
Like, I don't
just
think that should be
anticipating
included.
what could happen if that's, hey, for
'Cause
the
I know, like, Sioux
elderly,
Falls does
we're
not
gonna offer,
include-
and for adults, we're gonna offer this. But no, kids have to pay $65 to come and do swimming lessons.
But if
You have
they're
to-
if they're just going in there to walk, no different than
Mhm.
swimming, what's it matter? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if we just say, hey, you can water walk on your own,
Mhm.
just like a kid can come and swim on their own.
Or,
I think
you know,
if there's no instructor involved and it's
Right.
just
There's no
adult
instructor.
time, then that would be included, yes.
Right.
If it were somebody we were paying to do aerobics,
Then you have to, yeah. But if you don't care about
I'll probably
aerobics,
do
then I would not, because
So I'll be
you
the
could have, I mean, you
instructor.
could have a family
Right.
that like,
Our insurance is
swimming
gonna
lessons
require something.
and falls
So
like
is-
$100.
that
Yeah,
is the
I'll
other
think
thing, would we,
No,
would a lifeguard have to be present
Yeah, we
during
have to
that?
have somebody there.
Yeah.
There's
So
no
then
doubt.
that's the other thing is, do we raise that family pass or the individual pass to cover some of that?
But I
You
don't
know,
know
and
for
that's-
swimming lessons that you could raise it enough. You
No,
know what I
not
mean?
for swimming lessons,
Oh,
I'm
just for-
talking just to have access, for the parents to have access outside of that. If we wanna
So-
open it up for more hours and we need to pay more lifeguards, then we need to change your numbers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or if you're gonna do something like that, why not have it something like as a community ed program where you pay a fee for this, not have to have the pass, but the only thing you're paying for is this many, you offer it
Yeah,
2 or 3
X
times
many
a week.
classes.
Right.
X many
Yeah.
classes that you sign up, the fee's gonna be this, that'll cover the lifeguard. And then that way, if you do have the elderly people in the community who don't wanna buy a pool pass, there's another option to give them access
That's
to the
true.
facilities
That's true.
without having to
That's
spend.
kind of what I was thinking,
Like
was
a punch card.
outside, yes, like the punch
Yeah.
card, just to do
Mhm.
something outside of, if they don't wanna come any other time,
Yeah.
but at 11 AM on a Saturday or whatever, just to get some walking in, I
But
think
if
they
you
should
do,
have that
like,
option.
Signups for that, and then you can plan accordingly. If there isn't enough signups, it's not open. If there are enough signups, then.
And just do like a $60 pass and you can only come for 11 to 1.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just,
something.
Right.
they don't wanna do
So
it
those
for
are
kids
things
jumping in
that-
the pool.
You know, we
Something like that.
can add and edit those in the future too. I just wanna make sure that $100, that we think that that is an okay amount. And I don't think we should add swimming lessons into that because,
No.
not into 100, but I don't think we
Right.
should increase it for swimming lessons. And the reason why is because there are going to be many families who either choose not to do swimming lessons here or don't do swimming lessons at all, or their kids are teenagers. And
Yep.
so now they're paying for swimming lessons and they're not using
Yeah,
them.
I agree.
I don't don't think Sioux Falls includes swimming lessons.
No.
They don't.
I don't know if anybody
I,
does.
yeah,
Nobody.
I mean, at one point they used to, but not anymore, and I mean, even the wellness center, you have to pay for swimming lessons now.
I think the $100 is a reasonable
Yeah.
amount.
So kind of what I wanted to know was 100, 115, or 125. That's what I wanted to come
Or
here.
You need to up it? You need to up
Correct.
it
Do we
to-
need to?
What was Platt's again? Weren't they 150?
Yeah.
What Platt was 150.
Platt was far higher than.
Sean
anybody
wants
else.
150, which we can vote on that. I disagree. I think it's too high.
I say 125.
Would you
Is there
say?
any, is there any programs, like I know Sioux Falls does, like for,
A subsidy
Families.
program for
yeah.
income.
Yeah, do we have a city program for people with low income?
We
That's
do.
right. Yeah,
We
yeah,
talked
yes.
about, we did the United Way program, I don't know that that would pay for swimming fees, but we could do
That's,
a reduced cost one and base it off free and reduced school.
that's what they,
Yeah, because I know
it's based off
to
of,
some people is gonna
That could
be
be
a
a lot.
no. I mean, it'd be like, our kids, you're not, go to the backyard, use a hose. I mean,
they have
Right.
this whole, Sioux Falls' website has this whole thing on free and reduced income passes.
yeah,
And what you need
We
to
do.
qualify,
it's
and
like chasing a tail.
so that might be
I'll,
not, I mean, maybe we do 125 if we, I don't know
I'll
how
pull
big of a
something
pain
together on
this
free and
is.
reduced.
Yeah, so if
Okay.
you're gonna offer a free and reduced fee, then you can have a higher
Yeah, then you
amount
could go
because-
125 and it'd be great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you want a broad spectrum,
Yeah,
all of the residents,
Then you don't wanna go.
What would
above.
the,
That would be
what
clear
would
when we do
what would
that.
the reduced be?
Free and reduced is 50, applies to immediate family members living in the same household, including youth 18 and under, and stepchildren or foster children. And to qualify, you have to provide current photo ID plus one of the following South Dakota Medicaid card, school district notification letter of approval of free or reduced price meals.
that's what we'll do the
So-
school district notification letter.
One thing I'm sorry, I just need to put this out there. Over 70% of our school district is on free and reduced lunch.
Yes, it is. Like,
So
So you're 120.
I just wanna make sure we can
Website.
afford lifeguards if we have 75% on $50 family pass.
Right.
Does Wildwater West do things like that?
No, they don't care.
Why can't we just say, you know what, this is the price?
I still think 100, like 100 or 125 is still reasonable for like a family to do that.
Right.
And I really do think, we can look into it, but maybe don't put in the lunch thing, maybe do the Medicaid deal.
Yeah,
Cause like to Brittany's point, it is a brand new pool. I mean, like if it
And
was
it
our
costs money.
pool,
We're gonna
if
be
it was our pool
transferring-
before, I would say, no, $100.
When I want all
We'll
the
be
kids in the
transferring-
community to be able to
yeah,
come.
we're budgeting basically a loss of 25 to 30,000.
Right,
That will transfer in from third penny, which is fine, we can do that, that's one of the things that third penny is kind of there for, is entertainment, amenities and those kinds of things. What we need to figure out is what set of fees and past prices will get us to that price point, to that revenue point that we need.
so what if we did $150
$50
and then $100 as the reduced rate?
Look at Sean, yeah.
Or even
I think-
125 and 75, so you're
I
still.
think we would do 125 and 125 and 75, you know, cause then that's a whole $50 off, you know, for somebody that isn't struggling right now. An additional $25 is like going out to eat,
So can
that's
we
not
raise
a
it
big
to
deal.
125? If that follows through, and we will look into what criteria we want to do for the reduced pass.
Mhm.
Because maybe my percentage is wrong, we can check with the school district, or we could just do Medicaid, or we could do an income level. We can discuss some of that and then set the lower fee later.
Right,
Does that sound okay?
With Medicaid, the state verifies all of the income that's
Right.
reported,
right,
Okay,
including
so they could
children.
just,
right.
So if you use Medicaid as an option, you know that everybody living in that household.
It's verified.
It's verified.
sure, okay.
Or if they, I don't know, this is another idea, I'm not sure, but if they qualify for SNAP,
Yeah.
you know, that'd be another,
Yeah.
show a SNAP. card.
Yeah, SNAP
Yeah.
benefits.
It's similar, I mean, it's not as,
It's not as
Just the-
restrictive as
yeah.
Medicaid, like Medicaid is
the
pretty-
verification process isn't quite as strict, but
Right,
you're still verifying.
I'm just thinking of an easy way that they could
Mhm.
just show, we have a SNAP card rather than bringing in the letter from the school or whatever.
Or Medicaid card, I mean, they should have a
Medicaid
card.
or, Medicaid or SNAP, both have
Yeah,
cards.
it's,
So
your
it would be
income
easy.
level is lower for SNAP benefits than it is for Medicaid. The income requirements are slightly different.
Yeah, you have to have a lower income than Medicaid, yeah.
I'll
I
put a
do
new
want-
price matrix together and send that out to everybody.
I do want all kids in the community to be able to come. I
Yes.
don't want it to
Yeah,
sound
right.
like I'm not
Yes.
wanting, I mean, I want them to all have access, but I also want to have it feasible that we can stay open, we can support our lifeguards and offer swimming lessons and all of that for the
Well,
community.
you have to
Can we
remember
not-
Sioux Falls has a way bigger population.
Right.
Right.
And way, a lot more pools to
Right.
support the $50.
Yes.
Right.
Can we put forth to see if there's somebody in the community who would want to sponsor pool memberships for individuals who couldn't afford it, so I don't know how you would go about that.
And you can do that with some of this fundraising.
So
So-
either with or you could just ask, you could put it out there, we're looking for individuals to step up to be, like the angel tree type thing.
So with that, so what we're working on is making some type of electronic system for pool passes, registrations, when they come in each day. It's not handing you $5 and you're dealing with cash, but
Yeah,
it's more of
card.
a POS type system. And so I'm checking with the company that's doing the sports engine company. And so one of the questions we could have on there when they go through to do their registration, would you be willing to support another family?
Yeah.
And if so, what amount would you be willing
Right.
to support? So we could add something like that.
I think that's a good idea.
I think it's good to just add that for donations.
Well, and the thing is you could just, would you wanna add would you add an extra, if it's 125, would you wanna make the 130 and donate, $5 towards it? And that would be directly towards helping somebody get into the pool.
Sure.
People would be like, well, it's another $5, yeah.
So do we need to make a motion to approve raising the previously set fee to $125?
No, I think I've got a lot of notes here. I think I need to go back, look at what we need to hit in terms of revenue. And I'll shoot an email around to everybody with that new matrix. Here's some possibilities. I could give options to A, B, C, and see which is most favorable.
Do you think we'll get any, I don't think we'll get backlash for an additional.
I think
$25.
if we're gonna get backlash, we're gonna get backlash over 100 regardless.
Anything 100 or over. I mean, it was $60 before. Well, people used to ride their horses up and down Main Street too, but that changed.
What?
People used to ride their horses up and down Main Street too, but that changed.
Was there any discussion about, people that are outside Lennox?
We just said,
Yeah, that was discussed and I think it just becomes
difficult.
very difficult to track.
And it's not really our job to track that.
Yeah, so it was a discussion, it was never promised by us to the community, but the community, some members did bring that up, well, why do I have to pay the same amount?
And other pools do that in other areas, like in Wisconsin, when we went there, they made us pay more because we weren't a resident of the community.
That was the same in
It is so
Minnesota.
bad.
On a visitor, I've seen that on visitor passes, yeah. If somebody's a visitor, you're gonna pay more than somebody who lives in town.
Well, and if they're coming in for an individual day, they're gonna pay more regardless.
A day pass is gonna be.
What is our day pass?
So it is $5
$50, right, Sean?
for adults, $4 for elderly, and $3 for children. 17 and under, correct?
I think so.
Is there a cutoff for like
Senior.
kids free under when they're super small?
Like
Two?
2 and under?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
So
some
we,
do.
that's something that, I know I was gonna discuss that with Nate, it's not specified, it just says children are, his original proposal, but those are things that we can define to.
Cause they don't really use the facility
Cause
unless
2
we
and
have,
under fly free.
yeah.
But they're at a risk of shutting the whole thing down.
That's true.
They're a lot more financial
One malfunction away from shutting down the whole pool.
Hey, that could happen at any age, so.
Well, I'm only 30.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Is that gonna be on our posted rules?
I didn't mean to open up a can of worms, I'm really sorry, I
The
just,
duty of the pool.
I just wanna make sure we get it right, and sometimes it takes asking a group of parents what they would pay. You're looking at me funny, we wiped the state.
I'm sure that people will complain because so they're
Right.
gonna be like, we should get in for free, cause we
Well, and
fixed our taxes.
I think we need to be clear that, you know, the $1.7 million paid for the construction of the pool doesn't pay for the $30,000
Right,
that
yes.
we lose every year,
Yeah, doesn't pay for
even
all.
with these fees.
Yeah, if we lose $50,000 a year, then taxes go up more, so.
Yes,
Yeah,
they will.
right. But I think
So
that that's
either
just
way,
a
you're
good
going to end
point
up paying,
to
yeah.
people that bring
And
it
that's
up.
about what we were paying with the old bill too, we were losing
Right.
30,000 a year.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because, I mean, and like, 20 of that thousand is just water.
Right.
Water's cheap.
Not we're losing as much as we were losing out there.
The chemical was what was costing more
Yeah,
money.
true,
than-
true. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Nate, do you have a date that you are planning to roll out the director, assistant, or admin?
I'm gonna try to get the job
Supervisor,
description
manager
on the,
position.
job description should be on the agenda for the 12th, and after that, we'll advertise.
So you don't need us to approve it or anything, you're okay with these couple things and you can take it to the city
Yeah.
council, okay?
Sweet.
I think-
Or anything else on the hot button addendum I?
I just wanted to make our meeting more than an hour, I can't help myself.
Good thing you-
Anything else from
We
Mr.
discussed that
We
before you
were
got
at
here.
45 minutes before we got to Amendment I.
Anything else from Mr. Foss over here? I mean, Bridget. All right. Do we want to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
That's good job.
That's what I'm saying, is she wanted her name
Just
in
wanted to have
there.
another one on the list.
That's my one job.
I'm sorry.
That's my one job.
But Chair does have the authority to call who would have the second.
The second is over there.
Oh.
I want her dreams to be fulfilled.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Dismissed.
Whoa.